The fires are still raging in California, and right now, there are conversations and debates raging online as to what caused these fires. You got some woke idiots out of California that think it's all climate change. It's climate change's fault. It's climate change's fault. That's the reason why we don't got water coming to the fire hydrants. So you can kind of rule those idiots out, but then you got people who think, oh, it's a big conspiracy. Oh, they lit these fires on purpose. It's all happening on purpose. Now, when I looked at things from those angles, I did find some very weird details. Insurance companies cutting off policies for entire neighborhoods right before the neighborhoods burst into flames a couple of weeks later. Yeah, really weird stuff. So I agree. Hey. Maybe, just maybe, there's some foul play, weird agendas involved here. But then again, a lot of people are arguing that this is happening because of the incompetence in California. It's happening because of the weak leadership. It's happening because of all of their failed policies, all of the woke nonsense that was already destroying California. Well, guess what? It's just destroying it even further now. Now, when I look at all of these possibilities, we ruled the first one out. We don't freaking subscribe to that nonsense. But we got two hefty possibilities here. This was done on purpose. There's an agenda behind it. Or we just got failed leadership failing their people because of incompetence and because of all of the woke, nonsensical policies they've been implementing in California. Well, I'm looking around and I start looking into the fire chief of Los Angeles. And boy, oh boy. Man, the fire chief of Los Angeles, I'm telling you right now, once you know a little bit about this lady, once you look into a little bit of what she's been doing, then you realize that, hey, maybe there's not a big conspiracy after all. Maybe there's just a bunch of freaking idiots involved that are worried about other things like their sexuality, like race and gender and all of that nonsense. Just as you would expect coming from California. Well, it turns out the fire chief of Los Angeles, it turns out that she's the first LGBTQIA plus 2SLRX Y and Z. She's the first alphabet mafia member to ever be a fire chief in Los Angeles or something along those lines. Listen, something that no one should care about, right? Right? Like you shouldn't announce like, hey, here's our new fire chief. He's been working in the department for 13 years. He's served 8 years in the military and he sucks a lot of cock. Here he is, your new fire chief. Like, what? But that's what goes on in LA. This new fire chief, no one's been talking about her background, why she's qualified to be in this position. Everyone's just been talking about how she's part of the LGBTQ community. And listen, I'm not judging her. I don't care who you sleep with, who you bang. It doesn't matter to me. I have no problem with people being gay or being this or being that. Hey, you like eating coochies? So do I. We have that in common. But I shouldn't be hearing about your sexual preferences when you're the fire chief. Who you sleep with, what you decide to munch on, has nothing to do with fighting fires. Yet everything to do with this fire chief. When you look into her, you won't find anything about fighting fires. It's constantly LGBTQ propaganda nonsense blasted 24/7. And instead of focusing on preventing these fires, right? Instead of doing her job, making sure that water is equally distributed through these communities, you know what I'm saying? Making sure that everything's not too dry, making sure that you get rid of, dry patches and concerning areas of shrubbery, making sure you contain the brush. These are things you have to do out in California to ensure that if a wildfire does happen, that it doesn't spread too far. But they haven't been doing that because they've been focusing on gay pride parades and a bunch of LGBTQ nonsense. And like I said, I have no problem with you being whatever you want to be, but when you're the fire chief, you need to focus on preventing wildfires and fighting wildfires instead of raging on about your sexuality and doing parades in the street about who you sleep with at night. But that's what's been happening. But instead of me going on an entire tirade here, I have a lot to say. I want to roll this clip. I want you all to see what I'm talking about, and then I'll be back to rant even more.
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that. She's quick to point out that doing so has a greater purpose, attracting the best and brightest for the job.
They feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of a cohesive team.
The chief also checks another box when it comes to inclusivity and diversity at this department. She's a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
That just kind of opens the door of people that thought, wow, I didn't even know that that was an opportunity for me.
Now, when you see clips like that one, you slowly come to the realization that the people of California never, ever stood a chance in these wildfires. It doesn't matter if they were set on purpose or if it's a big accident. It doesn't matter what you want to blame. The people never stood a chance when that's their fire chief. And who do you think she attracts to the job? Who do you think she's hiring on the job? A bunch of people like her? That's why these fires are spreading and they're not being stopped, because half the firefighters in California are busy diddling with each other's buttholes instead of putting out the flames. You got this woman sitting here, wildfires rage in these areas all the time. Now the area is burning down, but all she's been worried about is diversity, equity, inclusion. How can we get a more diverse firefighting force? We need more women fighting fires. No, we don't. I love women. I do. We don't need more women fighting fires. You need strong men fighting fires. Okay? And, okay, let's say, hey, we do need more women firefighters. Okay, well, where are they? Why are they out here doing their job? It seems like y'all have been focusing on a bunch of gay nonsense. I'm just going to call it what it is. Be offended if you want to. You can be as offended as you want to. Guess what? People are burning to death right now. How about that? How about you worry about that? Instead of worrying about people like me out here speaking the truth, worry about people who are losing everything because they decided in California that hiring a LGBTQIA plus fire chief was the most important thing to do, even though she's obviously not qualified for the job. And her whole sole purpose of being in the firefighting force is to go find other people who are not qualified. Let's go find a bunch of diversity hires. What could go wrong? You got a bunch of diversity hires in the fire department. You got all of these woke freaking rules and laws and regulations in California. So the firefighters don't even have access to water to put the fires out. So what are they going to do? They're going to dance and skip around like a gay pride parade down your street as fires burn down your homes? That's basically what's happening in California. And that's why I say to people, yeah, look, there's a lot of shady things here. There's some coincidences that don't make sense, but do not let these people off the hook. Because as shady as this might be, we cannot ignore the fact that there are incompetent, bozo, weirdo freaks out here running the show in California. And because of them, people are losing everything, including lives and what have you. And right now, we don't know the true number of how many people who may have perished. We don't know how many homes and businesses have been destroyed. Countless lives ruined because the fire chief is more focused on gay pride parades as opposed to fighting fires. And to be clear, for the idiots out there in the back who want to fake be offended by everything, I'm not saying that this woman is not qualified for the job because of her sexual identity. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be fire chief because she's LGBTQ. What I'm saying is she shouldn't be focused on her sexuality when it comes to her job. Her sexuality should have nothing to do with it. Hell, I know plenty of lesbians here in the South working on farms wearing freaking plaid shirts that would go and do this job just fine. Okay? So I'm not trying to say that she can't do her job because of her identity, but she has made her identity everything. I'm going to come here and focus on the fact that I'm LGBTQI+, instead of fighting fires, the woke California mentality. And these type of people and this type of mentality is why the rest of America is kind of looking at California burn. And I hate to be the person to break it to you all. I don't feel this way, but a lot of people do not give a damn. A lot of people are like, good riddance. They brought this upon themselves. Because look at the people they vote for. Look at the people they hire. But like I said, I don't feel that way. I don't want to judge all of California because of stupid decisions that are being made by some of the people in California and some of the people running California. But I'm telling you right now, a lot of America, they're not really feeling that bad. Because everyone knew that things like this were coming. The writing is on the wall. And the only people that probably couldn't see it were the people living in California because they've been too brainwashed by the nonsense. But I'm hoping that something positive comes out of this. I mean, here in the South, we got areas still devastated by Hurricane Helene, people freezing to death in tents, and the government hasn't done anything to help them. Maybe, just maybe now, Americans on one side of the country and Americans on the other side of the country can kind of relate. Now people who were in the South and FEMA denied helping them because they are Trump supporters, maybe now they feel like they can relate to the people of California who lost everything as well. And in times like this, we see that everyday average Americans, we got a lot in common. And we are not each other's enemy. The enemy is people like this fire chief. It's the people in prominent positions and positions of power who are causing our country to burn to the ground, literally, at this point. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.